Spokane County Sheriff's Office says two girls who walked away from Ponderosa Elementary School in Spokane Valley were just found safe about 20 minutes ago. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Jane McCarthy. Those girls left campus around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Crews were searching around the Dishman Hills area, and that's where our Casey Decker is live now. Casey?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm actually right outside Ponderosa Elementary School right now, and according to Central Valley School District and the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, here's how it all went down this afternoon. As you mentioned, around recess at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, 5 students from this elementary school actually wandered off to the north area up by Woodruff, the street just north of this elementary school here, and 3 of those students were immediately found and brought back safe, but 2 of them remained missing for several hours in the Dishman Hills area. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office began a search. Now, I want to be clear, this wasn't a sort of like search party, grid search kind of thing. This was the Spokane County Sheriff's Office using their search and rescue team and their deputies to go out and look for these girls. They also at one point were using the helicopter. And then, as you guys just mentioned, about 20 minutes ago, these 2 girls were found. They were 11 and 12 years old, and they were found and brought home safe. So a good resolution to this situation here at Ponderosa Elementary School.
Casey, thank you very much. The best possible outcome in that situation. Well, as we mentioned, parts of our region continue to see heavy rain tonight. Take a look at this photo of a downpour in downtown Spokane.
Avista is warning people that all that rain this weekend is going to cause some water levels to rise in our area. So we want to get right to Tom Sherry in the Weather Center with a look at your forecast. Tom?
Yeah, let's go with it. And we had some of the heaviest rain for some thunderstorms that were moving through the Spokane Valley. Specifically, let me switch this over to the Newman Lake area, where we actually picked up 1.5 inches of rain just in 75 minutes. And in Millwood, we picked up just a little less than an inch of rain. That took about an hour and 15 minutes. Up north of us, up in Ford in Stevens County, we picked up 1.5 inches of rain up there. So just depended on your location. Most of the heavy rain is occurring to the north of us right now. Much of the rain in the Spokane area has stopped. Here's a closer view of the Spokane showers. But if you're traveling 395 through Deer Park, you'll run into some heavy rain up around Colbert on Highway 2. You're going to run into some heavy rain. And it looks like a little bit west of Coeur d'Alene, that dark shade of green shows some pretty good rainfall there. But we are seeing some thunderstorms again, still to the north of us up in, say, Stevens County and Pend Oreille County. We'll look for rain and thunderstorms to continue this evening, scattered rain overnight. We'll look for showers again tomorrow morning and again tomorrow afternoon with a daytime high of 67 degrees. Here's a complete look at your Memorial Day weekend. 67 on Saturday, 69 with a 40% chance of rain Sunday, probably in the first half of the day. Right now, Monday, Memorial Day, looks like the nicest, driest, and warmest of the 3 days. We'll shoot for a temperature of 75 degrees. I'll have the rest of your 7-day forecast coming right up.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you very much. Well, we know many people heading to western Washington for the weekend. Here's a look at the traffic on Snoqualmie Pass. Not too terrible at this time. The Washington Department of Transportation says traffic on the pass heading westbound will be moderate tonight and tomorrow. And for people driving back to eastern Washington on Monday, plan on that pass being backed up between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. It'll be a lot worse for people heading to the opposite directions.
I thought this guy has a gun. No other question went through my mind.
So that is Officer Josh Rigney. It was just over a month ago when a man shot him twice while off duty outside his home in Lewiston. And tonight we are hearing from him for the first time. He
is a member of the Nez Perce Tribe Police Department. Rigney was shot under his arm and through his knee, but his outlook is very good tonight. Taylor Vito spoke with the officer, and Taylor, he told you he's looking forward to putting his badge on again.
Yeah, guys, that's right. All that despite an armed suspect who showed up to his home, asked if he was a cop, and then started to shoot. Officer Rigney's wife and 3 girls were home at the time, too. But when it all went down, his training kicked in.
I can tell you, it seemed like it was a split second. I would have never guessed that he shot, I think it was 15 rounds.
And in that flurry of bullets, Josh Rigney was only shot twice. He returned fire, of course. Officer Rigney had a family to protect.
I just thought in my mind, well, crap, I just got shot. And I just kept going.
His training had paid off. Instincts that were first given to him by his dad, an officer with the Lewiston Police Department. Rigney says he always wanted to be a cop, but his dad wasn't too keen on the idea.
He's like, why would you want to do that? Why don't you be a firefighter?
But still, the thought of wearing the badge never left him. After time spent as a reserve with the armed forces, Rigney started to train as a police officer. And 2 years ago, he joined the Nez Perce Tribe's police department.
It's just stopping and talking to people, making that relationship.
Rigney's chief said Josh fit right in. He became a valuable asset to the team, an essential tribal cop who got the scare of his lifetime in April.
But I was laying there taking a nap and heard a pound on the door.
You see, it was one of Rigney's off days and he was at home. Also there, his wife and 3 young daughters. But outside was this guy, an ex-convict who appeared to have a deadly motive.
Asked him if I could help him. Asked me if I worked for the Nez Perce Tribal Police, and that was the last after I told him yeah. So he pulled a gun, and so we proceeded to have what we like to call a gunfight.
That suspect, Daniel Cook, fired over a dozen rounds. Rigney had grabbed his own gun before he answered the door, and despite being shot, he took cover behind his pickup and returned fire.
And I just kept going. I didn't think to stop right there. If anything, it kind of fueled my fire is to keep going. It's like, this guy just shot me, so I need to keep going.
Cook would eventually get back into his car and speed off. Cops would spot him, though, and a chase ensued. Cook eventually died in a shootout with officers. Back at Rigney's home, he started to look over his wounds.
I still want to ask, when all this was going on, were you thinking of your wife and kids?
I was, yeah.
Thanks to his training, Rigney knew he was okay for the time being. A bullet went through his knee, but missed major arteries. Same for another shot that was higher.
So it was right up there in the armpit.
Rigney was conscious the whole time and remarkably stayed in good spirits. He used to work at the hospital in Lewiston and knew he'd be taken care of there. Support from the community would pour in, and Rigney's family has received what he calls a substantial amount of donations. And it's that generosity that he appears more than willing to pay back.
Hopefully everything's, well said and done. Do you plan to come back to work here?
That's the plan, yeah. I'll say there's a really reason why I wouldn't do it. It's, something I enjoy doing, and, a couple bullet wounds, that's the worst that can happen, right? So
he was shot off duty and not while on the job. That's what makes this different, Rigney says, in terms of putting the badge back on. And this cop made it clear he already has no regrets.
I'd take bullets again if I knew it was going to end the same way, where I was the only one who got hit for how much he shot around town after that, shooting at other cops.
And at this point, it's not exactly clear why the suspect showed up to Rigney's home. The shooting is still being investigated, and Rigney isn't able to comment on some of those aspects. But like he said, nobody else was injured. In the studio, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
Taylor, thank you for that update. Before Memorial Day, kids at the Northeast Youth Center were out placing pennies and flags on veterans' graves. This is at Fairmount Memorial Park. A penny on the headstone lets the soldier's family know that someone stopped by to pay their respects.
Why do you think this is important to do this morning?
Because to remember the people who died.
We want to have protection. The Middle East, we're going to be sending a relatively small number of troops, mostly protective, and some very talented people are going to the Middle East right now, and we'll see how, and we'll see what happens.
President Trump is sending 1,500 U.S. troops to the Middle East. This is after tensions escalated between the U.S. and Iran. The president is now in Japan for a state visit.
Here at home, the owner of Nectar Catering and Events in downtown Spokane posted this photo of his restroom after it was trashed. He says yesterday during a catering event, a man came in and locked himself in the restroom, and he didn't leave until Spokane police arrived. The post has already received hundreds of comments and shares.
The owner told KREM 2's Amanda Broley why this made him want to join the conversation about homelessness and drug addiction.
I was very shocked that someone would, have that little personal regard or little regard for someone else's personal property.
Thursday night, Joshua Wade was hosting an event at his business, Nectar Catering and Events. He eventually left the event in the hands of his employees. Everything was going smoothly until later that night when an employee texted him this photo of Nectar's restroom.
And she said that the person was still in the building, they had trashed the bathroom, and I told her to call the cops. The person locked themselves in that bathroom, and it wasn't until she was on the phone with the police that the person had enough sense to leave and exit the building.
He says they were able to clean up the damage to the restroom without any major cost to his business, but the cost he's most concerned about is the safety of his employees and customers.
It's important for the basic premise is we should be safe where we're at, and to have employees that are going into the basement to get different items, to be startled by somebody, you don't know what kind of mind frame that person has.
Josh has been a business owner in Spokane for about 9 years and has seen a lot in that time.
We've had a few incidences over the last few years, being chased down the street by a homeless person.
But yesterday's incident was his breaking point.
Whatever is happening is not working.
He doesn't claim to know what the right solution is for homelessness or drug addiction, but he now wants to join the conversation with others in the community to find one. Josh received a comment on his photo from a member of Empower Spokane. It's a group that's already having these conversations and want to find the best approach to addressing homelessness in Spokane. The group sent KREM 2 a statement saying the incident at Nectar is a perfect example of the type of destructive behavior the current approach is perpetuating. It goes on to say the group hopes to promote true compassion, which highlights empowering rather than enabling. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.